Hi guys, my name's Mark, I'm an oyster boy, and today it's pizza day. So it's been a while since I've fired up the pizza oven. I'm going to try a bit something different today. So normally I would make my dough over a couple of days, really nice long ferment in the fridge, add some really good flavour to your dough. Haven't got time for that today, so I'm going to try and add some extra flavour in by using beer instead of water in the dough. Now, you could do this with your homebrew if you've got some stuff on tap, but to make this video more accessible, and also I haven't got any appropriate beer on tap to make a dough with, I'm going to be using OG Stella, lovely can of Stella, to make up my dough. So the recipe I'll be using is a very easy one. I'll put it all in the description down below, but if you want to do it, this is 613-ish grams of flour. I've got 18 grams of salt. I've got 3.5 grams of instant yeast, or might be called easy bake yeast, depending on which one you want. And I'm going to use about 400 ml of liquid, or 400 grams of Stella in here to make about 65% hydration dough. I'm going to be mixing this up in a stand mixer because I'm lazy, and also, you know, don't want to get all dough in my hands and stuff like that. So let's just talk you through what we're going to do. So first thing we will do is we will get the bowl onto our scales, turn those on. And like I say, we want about 400 grams of liquid. Now, this has come straight from the fridge because I'm going to be using a stand mixer. I know it will warm the dough up. You don't want your dough to get too warm because you will lose any sort of good gluten structure. So there's 406 grams in there. That's fine for me. If it's a little bit wetter, maybe 67% hydration, I don't really mind. Obviously it means there's 40 ml left in there for me. Cheers. Delicious, what a way to start the day. 613 grams of flour. I've already weighed that out, but I'm just gonna add that in. Always put your wet ingredients in first, before your dry ones. Yeast in next, 3.5 grams of yeast. Scatter that in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this mixing, and as things start to come together, that's when I'll chuck the salt in. So dough hook on, and you mix it onto the lowest speed. Now as that's starting to come together, I'm just going to put this salt in. And we'll leave that to go for about 10 minutes. Right, so 10 minutes is up, and as you can see, we've now got a lovely, nice, smooth ball of dough. Let's get it out of here and onto the worktop. Little bits in there, not too much, and you know, the dough feels nice. It's not too sticky. I like 65% hydration. It's a good balance, and it's very soft actually, softer than if I make it dough with water. But you can already see, can't you? It's lovely texture. So we'll just form this into a ball there, and I've got like an oiled box there, and it doesn't need it, but I like to sort of drag and form a nice sort of gluten cloak around the outside. Just close that up at the bottom. We're going to pop this in here now. I'm going to leave that in there for between an hour and two. I expect probably close to 2 hours, just on timings when people are coming over. And at that point, I'll take it out once it's doubled in size-ish, and I will ball it up. This recipe I'm going to use to make 3 large pizzas, so 330-ish gram dough balls, and they should stretch out to about 15-inch pizza, I would think. But anyway, I'm going to get this covered in some cling film, put it somewhere nice and warm, and we will come back and see how it's looking in a little while. Right, so I'm back. This has been proving for about 2 hours now, and it has roughly doubled in size. So what I'm going to do now is take it out here, and that is a very soft dough, and I'm going to split this, shove that there. I'm going to split this into 330 gram-ish dough balls and put it in these boxes. You'll notice I've only got 2 of these boxes. The last dough ball I'm going to freeze and then try and have another day and see how that works out. But yeah, should be a fairly simple process. If it's too big, just chop a bit off, and if it's too small, add a bit more. I've got a bit extra dough here, messed up on my measurement somewhere. So there we go. And to ball up the dough, what you want to do is basically make sure there's a nice smooth gluten cloak on the outside of it. So if I get rid of these, a couple of ways you can do this. One is you can just fold it in on itself, the hands at the top, until you've got a nice smooth top, and then roll together in your hands at the bottom and just pinch it so it forms a nice ball, just like that. Maybe pinch it a bit better than I did at the bottom there. So there's one. Again, if you're not too confident doing that, what you can do is the old school way of just rolling it on the counter like that. If you're making bread rolls, probably back in the olden days, that's what you would do. Again, pinch it close to the bottom. There we go. That's two. And then the third method, which I think actually is probably the easiest one if you've not done this before, is you can grab a scraper and you just kind of drag it round on itself on the worktop and tuck all the edges in underneath it like that. And then at the end, again, just pinch it all closed, and you can see there you've got a nice smooth skid on top. So this one, I'm going to wrap up with cling film, bang it in the freezer, and we'll have that another day. And these two here, I'm actually going to just leave out on the worktop again for another 2 hours-ish, hour and a half to 2 hours-ish. Let them double in size, and then we will get some pizza made. So catch you soon. Right guys, back again. I reckon this dough's ready to use now. So here I've got a very large box of semolina or semola. I prefer using this to flour because I find that the flour burns on the deck of the oven too much. And here I've got my dough ball, which should be pretty, yeah, it's taken up that whole box now, so you can see how much that has grown since we popped it in there. So I'm just gonna take some of this semolina actually, and just put some down on the surface here. But we're going to dust most of that off in a little while anyway, just to make sure. A little lump in there, get rid of that. And then the dough ball itself, I'm just going to turn out, hopefully fairly easily, into there. Get this nicely covered so we're not sticking. Dough feels very full of air, which is good, what we want. Okay, so now we are going to form the pizza. Now, I am not a pizzaiolo. There are probably more people on the internet that are better at doing this than me, and there's lots more videos out there that'll be a lot better for you to go and watch if you want to learn how to shape a pizza. I am not the person that's going to teach you that. All I know is you want to push all the air from the middle to the edges, and if possible, you know, preserve the nice little bit of air that you have around the outside. Whilst trying to get it nice and round. Quite easy to work with dough actually. Feels very strong. Okay, so here we go. So on this pizza, I'm just going to do a nice margherita. So we've got some sauce, tomato sauce here. You can make your own, or you can use store-bought, whatever tickles your fancy. I chop and change really. Today I think I'm using store-bought. This is the mutty one. They make a stonking sauce. I like to have some basil leaves on a margherita. I put my basil leaves in water, stop them burning in the oven. Everyone's got a different method of doing this. Spread that a bit better there. And then for cheese, I've just got some nice mozzarella. It's not fresh like buffalo mozzarella. This is comes from a block, which is better in the pizza oven really because the temperatures get very hot, but the buffalo mozzarella would be too wet ultimately. So I use this drier mozzarella so you don't get that soupy pizza. There we go, not too much, not too little. That looks finally fine to me. And to get this in our oven, what we're going to do is we're just going to put the peel here. We're going to take a tiny bit of semola, just put that on there like that so nothing sticks. And then we can just pick the pizza up and we can drag it on. Be careful there, you may have seen I almost caught the edge on the edge of the peel there. Stretch it out as big as you like. And I feel like that looks pretty nice. So now we're going to take our pizza here and launch into the oven. Okay guys, so I've just had to move the camera back inside and here is the finished pizza. I mean, I think that looks pretty good, especially for a one-day dough. I would say that when you use beer instead of water, the dough browns up a bit quicker in the oven. Right around there, it's a bit browner. This is lovely and soft. Pops right back at you as well. So let's just have a little chop into this and see what we think of the dough. Not too bothered about the toppings, to be honest, here, because I know exactly what a cheese and tomato pizza tastes like. I'm more worried about how the dough's turned out. So you see, we've got some good bubbles and gluten structure in there, but the taste, I suppose. So there's definitely more flavour in this than a dough that you'd make in 4 hours normally. It's really nice actually. Is it as good as fermenting a dough for 2 or 3 days in your fridge? Probably not. Is it much better than starting a dough in the morning and having pizza for lunch and just using water? Absolutely. There's a really nice sort of depth of flavour in there, which I'm assuming only can come from the beer. But yeah, this is my lunch sorted for now. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. And smash like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Oysters out.